I had two interactions recently that turned out very differently, and I think they make a nice demonstration of the F.A.C.T process. I went for a bike ride with my wife, and we went on a bike trail meant just for bikes and pedestrians in a wilderness park. And it's paved, and there's enough room for three bikes or maybe four across. And there was no one around, so we cycled side by side over to one side, chatting away, somewhat oblivious about the surroundings because it was so quiet. Suddenly there was a loud yell almost right beside us, and just behind us there was another cyclist who'd come up who we hadn't heard. He yelled out something that startled us both, and we reacted in fear. And I yelled out to him, please ring your bell or call out sooner if you're going to pass someone. He yelled back, oh, you're taking up too much room. And my wife called out, well, you startled me. And he said, well, if you startle so easily, maybe you shouldn't ride a bike. By this time, he'd actually slowed down as if he wanted to teach us a lesson. So I just sort of sneered at him. I said, have a nice day, in a way that suggested I wished him exactly the opposite. And he sneered something back at me and rode off. So the whole thing was driven by fear. We reacted quickly, and my wife and I just felt really rather jangled after that. There was no resolution whatsoever. Now, the other episode, I went early in the morning to a wilderness park near where I live. There's a big lake there with several beaches on it, and I was going for an early morning swim. And when I got there were other swimmers coming and going. It's a small beach, and all of them were honoring the 2 meter distance the pandemic requires, which I certainly appreciated. However, the lifeguards for all the beaches on the lake were meeting at that particular beach for their morning meeting. And they were all enthusiastic 18 to 25-year-olds. They were all chatting, laughing, joking, none of them with masks, all sitting on or around a picnic table, leaning in, touching each other, and some of them even leaning against signs that said to keep 2 meters away. And I felt really rather angry that, why are these people so clueless or just completely disregarding these regulations that really have most of us, and certainly me, in a somewhat fearful state. So I thought, well, I can just ignore this, and I just turned my back and continued getting ready to go swimming. But I realized I was kind of agitated, and I looked back at them, and I looked away again, and I saw another swimmer going by, and I sort of rolled my eyes, and he rolled his eyes back at me, shrugged his shoulders. And so this was facing the fact that I felt fearful and angry. But first thing I felt was the fear, or the anger, and beneath that I could feel that I was also fearful. So that's the facing part. Accepting. On the one hand, I thought, I'd like to say something, I feel I should. On the other hand, I thought, I don't want to cause a fuss. And I thought, this is really wrong. They shouldn't do this, and I should speak. And then I thought, and then I'll be seen as that grumpy old man, some variation of the, hey, you kids, get off of my lawn sort of thing. But after a few more breaths, I just felt, I felt actually a bit of a sadness that here are these people, enthusiastic, as I was at that age, and just maybe a little bit clueless about their surroundings. Perhaps like a couple of cyclists out on a bike path, not paying attention to their surroundings. So I decided, I'd like to take action. I'd like to do something. So the C, choosing. What are my choices? I thought, well, I can blurt out at them and just yell, which will leave us all jangled. I could whip up my cell phone, a nice passive-aggressive move, and say I was going to take it to the press or their boss or something. And none of that felt right. I was grounded enough to know that wouldn't make much sense. I could go up and sort of blame and shame them as a group, and that would be, even use my authority as a retired doctor to say that to show them, what they're doing. But I thought, I'll just go and speak with the lead guy. They were just breaking up at this stage, and I went to the lead lifeguard, and I just spoke gently and calmly to him and shared my observations, my concerns, and about them gathering in this way. And he initially responded, well, the pandemic rules say we don't have to break up family groups, and we're just like a family, all the lifeguards. And anyway, none of us are sick. So I thought, well, I said to him, you're not a family. You don't live together. And any one of you could have had contact with the illness and be spreading it to other people. So I think this is a real concern, and I think you should know that I feel this way. And by this time, he started to waggle his head a bit, and he exhaled a bit, and I could see that he was hearing my message. And I felt that I'd been able to communicate to him because I went through this little process, which is quite automatic for me now. So I was able to respond out of my concern and honor my feelings, not override them. And I didn't react just out of fear as I did on the bicycle path. If you'd like more information or ideas about this F.A.C.T process, check out the links associated with this.